You're working harder than ever, reading all the right books, watching all the motivational videos, but you're still stuck in the same place. What if the reason you're not progressing has nothing to do with effort and everything to do with one brutal truth you've been ignoring? In this video, I'll reveal the psychological trap backed by Harvard research that's quietly sabotaging 90% of people trying to improve, and the exact system to break free starting today. I discovered this after spending 3 years frustrated with my own lack of progress. I was doing everything right, journaling, meditating, setting goals, but nothing stuck. Then I found a study from Harvard psychologist Dr. Teresa Amabile that changed everything. The problem is, most people confuse activity with progress. Your brain literally can't tell the difference between being busy and moving forward until it's too late. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to rewire your approach so that every action you take actually moves the needle. Let's dive in. Now here's where it gets interesting and uncomfortable. The brutal truth is this: your brain rewards you for taking action, not for making progress. Every time you read a book, watch a tutorial, or write down a goal, your brain releases dopamine. It feels like you're accomplishing something. But neuroscience shows that this learning high is actually tricking you into thinking you've already done the work. This works because your brain evolved to reward preparation and planning, behaviors that kept our ancestors alive. But in the modern world, this same mechanism keeps you stuck in what psychologists call perpetual preparation mode. You're constantly getting ready to change instead of actually changing. Research from the University of Scranton found that 92% of people who set goals never achieve them. Why? Because they spend months planning the perfect system instead of implementing an imperfect one. Here's how to break this cycle. Apply the 24-hour rule. Whatever you learn or decide to do, you must take one physical action within 24 hours. Not planning, not research, actual execution. First, identify the single smallest action you can take right now. Want to get fit? Don't create a workout plan. Do 5 push-ups immediately after this video. Second, track actions, not intentions. Get a simple calendar and mark an X every day you take a real action, no matter how small. This visual feedback rewires your reward system. Third, avoid the mistake of productive procrastination, doing easier tasks that feel important, but don't move your actual goal forward. Ask yourself, will this specific action directly create the result I want? For instance, instead of spending 3 hours researching the perfect productivity app, spend 3 minutes writing down your top 3 priorities on paper and do the first one. But that's not all, because even when you do take action, there's a second trap waiting. This next one is crucial, and it explains why you feel like nothing's working. You're standing too close to your own life. When you look at yourself every single day, your brain filters out gradual change. It's called change blindness. The same reason you don't notice a friend's haircut if you see them daily, but it's obvious if you haven't seen them in months. This works because your brain uses comparison as its measurement tool. But when the comparison point is yesterday, and yesterday was almost identical to today, your brain concludes, no progress. This triggers the why bother response, and you quit right when you're actually building momentum. Dr. B.J. Fogg from Stanford's Behavior Design Lab explains that real change follows what he calls the aggregate effect, invisible micro-improvements that suddenly compound into massive transformation. But most people quit during the invisible phase. There's a scientific reason for this, and it's fascinating. Your neural pathways are literally rewiring, but you can't feel it happening. It's like downloading a file. You don't see the benefit until it hits 100%, but the progress is real at 47%. Here's how to solve this. Implement the 12-week mirror system. First, take objective baseline measurements right now, not tomorrow. Photos, videos, written descriptions, specific numbers. Capture your starting point before your brain forgets what it was like. Second, lock these away somewhere you won't check them. This is critical. Your brain needs distance. Set a calendar reminder for exactly 12 weeks from today. Third, during those 12 weeks, track process metrics instead of outcome metrics. Don't weigh yourself daily. Track, did I eat protein at breakfast? Don't check your bank account obsessively. Track, did I invoice one client today? Fourth, avoid the comparison trap. Stop checking other people's progress on social media. Their week 52 is not your week 3. Focus on beating yesterday's version of you, not someone else's highlight reel. For instance, instead of thinking, I'm still 30 pounds overweight, reframe it as I've completed 8 weeks of consistent morning walks, something I'd never done before. Now let's talk about something even more powerful, the hidden enemy that's more dangerous than lack of motivation. Most people don't know this, but the advice to get out of your comfort zone is actually killing your progress. Here's the brutal reality. Your nervous system has a built-in threat detection system. When you try to change too much too fast, your brain interprets this as danger and activates what psychologists call the amygdala hijack. Your fight or flight response kicks in and sabotages your efforts. This works because your brain's number one job isn't to make you successful, it's to keep you alive, and alive means predictable. Change equals unpredictable, which equals potential threat. So your brain manufactures anxiety, resistance, and self-sabotage to pull you back to familiar territory. A study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that willpower is a finite resource. When you force yourself into prolonged discomfort, you deplete your willpower reserves, and you eventually snap back to old habits, often worse than before. The Japanese have used this principle for centuries with the concept of Kaizen, continuous tiny improvements. Toyota revolutionized manufacturing not through massive overhauls, but through 1% improvements every single day. Here's the counterintuitive truth. Progress happens at the edge of comfort, not outside it. First, identify your current capability baseline. What can you do consistently without negotiating with yourself? That's your comfort zone edge. Second, add only one micro-challenge at a time. If you currently don't exercise, your edge isn't run 5 miles, it's put on workout clothes. That's it. Make it so easy you can't say no. Third, use the 2-minute rule from James Clear's research. Scale down your habit until it takes less than 2 minutes. Want to read more? Don't commit to 30 minutes. Commit to reading 1 page. Your brain can't mount a resistance response to 1 page. Fourth, celebrate micro wins immediately. This is where most people fail. When you complete your tiny action, physically acknowledge it. Fist pump, say yes out loud, or do a victory pose. This triggers dopamine and trains your brain that progress feels good. 4. Instance. Instead of I'm going to quit sugar cold turkey, try I'm going to drink water instead of soda at lunch today. Just today. Win that micro battle, celebrate, then repeat tomorrow. This brings me to the next secret. And this one might make you uncomfortable. But wait, there's more to this, and it gets personal. You've probably noticed that you'll show up for others but not yourself. You'll meet a friend for coffee at 7 a.m., but you'll skip your own workout. You'll hit a deadline at work, but ignore your personal goals. This isn't a character flaw, it's basic human psychology. This works because humans are social creatures who evolved in tribes. Breaking a promise to the tribe meant exile, which meant death. Breaking a promise to yourself? Your brain registers 0 social consequences, so it doesn't activate the accountability circuits in your prefrontal cortex. Behavioral economist Dan Ariely found that people are 65% more likely to follow through on commitments when another human knows about them. But here's the catch. It has to be the right person. with the right structure, or it backfires. Wrong accountability looks like posting goals on social media for likes. Your brain gets the dopamine hit from the likes and thinks you've already achieved the goal. Right accountability looks like pre-commitment contracts with specific consequences. Here's the harsh truth. If you keep breaking promises to yourself, you're training your brain that your word means nothing. This creates what psychologists call learned helplessness. You stop believing you're capable of follow-through. Here's how to rebuild self-trust using the commitment architecture system. First, choose one promise, not 5, not 3, 1. Make it specific and time-bound. I will walk for 10 minutes at 7 a.m. for the next 7 days. Second, create a pre-commitment device with real stakes. Tell someone you respect, if I don't do this, I will donate $100 to a cause I hate. Money loss hurts. Make it hurt enough to matter, but not so much you avoid committing. Third, send daily proof. Not just I did it, actual evidence. A photo, a screenshot, a video. This removes wiggle room and activates your integrity circuits. Fourth, stack wins slowly. After 7 days, acknowledge it, I kept my word. Then make a new 7-day commitment. Small proven track record builds self-trust exponentially. Avoid this mistake. Don't make vague promises like I'll try harder or I'll be better. Your brain can't measure that. It needs binary outcomes. Did you do it? Yes or no? For instance, instead of I'll work on my business this week, commit to I will send 3 client outreach emails by Wednesday at noon. Then prove it. Now you might be thinking this sounds rigid, which brings me to the most misunderstood aspect of progress. This next one is crucial because it's the silent killer that masquerades as ambition. You think having high standards is what separates winners from losers. But research shows that perfectionism is actually correlated with lower achievement, higher anxiety, and increased procrastination. Let that sink in. Here's what's really happening. Perfectionism isn't about excellence, it's about protection. When you set impossible standards, you create a built-in excuse for not starting. I can't begin until conditions are perfect is just fear wearing a disguise. This works because your ego stays safe. If you never truly try, you never truly fail. Perfectionism is your brain's defense mechanism against the vulnerability of putting yourself out there. Dr. Brené Brown's research at the University of Houston found that perfectionism is the ultimate achievement killer. The psychology is fascinating. Your brain perceives the gap between where you are and your perfect vision as a threat. This gap triggers shame and inadequacy, which your nervous system tries to avoid by keeping you stuck in planning mode. Here's the brutal truth that nobody tells you. Done beats perfect every single time. Think of it like this. A mediocre workout that happens is infinitely better than a perfect workout plan that stays in your head. A rough draft that exists beats a masterpiece that doesn't. First, adopt the B+ rule. Give yourself permission to produce B+ work. Not C work. You still care about quality, but not A+ either. B+ is good enough to create results while protecting your mental energy. Second, use the 2-draft method. For any project, create a rough vomit draft first. No editing, no judgment, just output. This separates the creation process from the refinement process, which prevents perfectionism paralysis. Third, set good enough criteria before you start. Define what done looks like in advance. Example, this presentation is done when I have 10 slides with key points and 1 example each. Not 50 perfect slides, 10 good enough ones. Fourth, embrace the concept of progressive refinement. Ship version 1, get feedback, improve to 1.1. Real-world feedback beats internal perfectionism every time. Avoid this critical mistake. Don't confuse high standards with perfectionism. High standards mean you care about excellence. Perfectionism means you care about protecting your ego. For instance, instead of, I can't post this video until the lighting, audio, and editing are Hollywood quality. Try, I'll post this video when the content is clear and the audio is understandable. Iterate from there. But that's not the deepest level. There is one more brutal truth we need to address. Now, let's talk about something even more powerful. And this is where most people give up right before the breakthrough. You've been focusing, on what you do. But real progress requires changing who you are. All the habits, systems, and tactics in the world won't stick if they conflict with your identity. This works because your brain has a self-image, a story about who you are, and your brain will always act in ways that are consistent with this self-image, even if it's negative. Psychologists call this identity-behavior alignment. James Clear nailed this in Atomic Habits. The ultimate form of intrinsic motivation is when a habit becomes part of your identity. It's one thing to say, I'm the type of person who wants this. It's something very different to say, I'm the type of person who likes this. Here's the harsh reality. If you identify as someone who's bad with money, you'll sabotage every budget. If you identify as not a morning person, you'll sleep through every alarm. Your identity is running the show. Research from Stanford psychologist Carol Dweck shows that people with fixed identities plateau quickly, while those with flexible identities show continuous growth. Here's how to reprogram your identity using the evidence-based identity system. First, identify your current limiting identity statements. Write down how you complete these sentences. I'm the type of person who pay attention to negative patterns. Second, flip each statement into an aspirational identity, but make it believable. Not I'm ultra-disciplined. Your brain rejects this lie. Instead, I'm becoming someone who follows through on small commitments. Third, and this is the game changer, cast votes for your new identity through micro-actions. Every time you do something consistent with your new identity, you cast a vote. You don't need to win unanimously, you just need to win the majority. Missed your workout? That's one vote for old identity. But if you did your morning routine, ate a healthy breakfast, and took a walk, that's 3 votes for new identity. You won the day 3-1. Fourth, use identity-based language in your self-talk. Stop saying I'm trying to exercise more. Start saying I'm a person who moves their body daily. The shift from doing to being is everything. Fifth, surround yourself with people who reflect your aspirational identity. Your brain adopts the identities of your closest 5 people. Show me your friends. I'll show you your future. For instance, instead of I failed my diet today, reframe it as I'm someone who's learning to eat healthy. Today was one data point in a long journey. I cast 4 votes for healthy eating and 1 against. Still winning. This brings me to the final and most brutal truth. But wait, there's more to this. And this one might save years of your life. You're measuring your progress on the wrong time scale. You expect results in weeks, but real transformation takes months. You expect mastery in months, but it takes years. This mismatch between expectation and reality is why 92% of people abandon their goals. This works because we live in an instant gratification culture. 2-day shipping, instant streaming, same-day results. Your brain has been conditioned to expect immediate payoff, but meaningful change operates on geological time, not microwave time. Malcolm Gladwell's research showed the 10,000-hour rule isn't just about practice. It's about sustainable, long-term commitment. The people who make it aren't more talented. They're just willing to stay in the game longer than everyone else. There's a scientific reason for this, and it's called the lag effect. Your actions today create results 3 to 6 months from now. You're living in the outcome of your past decisions while creating the future. Most people quit during the lag phase, never seeing what their consistency would have created. The Japanese bamboo tree is the effect metaphor. You water and fertilize it for 5 years and nothing happens, no growth. Then in year 6 it grows 90 feet in 6 weeks. The first 5 years weren't wasted, they were building the root system. Here's the harsh truth. Most people overestimate what they can achieve in 1 year and underestimate what they can achieve in 5 years. First, shift to process orientation instead of outcome orientation. Don't ask, did I hit my goal? Ask, did I execute my process today? Process is controllable. Outcomes aren't. Second, use the 10-year thinking mental model. Before quitting anything, ask, where will I be in 10 years if I stick with this? Where will I be if I quit? This creates perspective. Third, document your journey. Take weekly progress photos, journal entries, or voice memos. During moments of doubt, review where you started. Proof of progress fights the quitting impulse. Fourth, embrace what I call strategic patience. Commit to your goal for a minimum of 12 months before evaluating if it's working. Give your bamboo time to grow its roots. Avoid this trap. Don't confuse slow progress with no progress. A 1% improvement per week equals 68% improvement in a year. That's life-changing. But week to week, it's invisible. For instance, instead of thinking I've been working out for 6 weeks and barely see results, I quit, think I'm building a foundation. In 6 months, this will compound. In 6 years, I'll be unrecognizable. Now, you might be thinking this all sounds overwhelming, which is exactly why we need to recap this properly. Let's quickly review what we covered today. Because these 7 truths are the difference between spinning your wheels and actually transforming your life. Number 1, stop confusing activity with progress. Action within 24 hours, not endless planning. Number 2, you can't see your own progress day to day. Use He 12-week mirror system for objective measurement. Number 3, progress happens at the edge of comfort, not outside it. Micro challenges, not massive leaps. Number 4, you need accountability with real stakes. Rebuild self-trust, one promise at a time. Number 5, perfection is the enemy of progress. Ship B+ work and iterate. Number 6, change your identity, not just your actions. Cast daily votes for who you're becoming. Number 7, operate on the right time scale. Commit for 12 months minimum before judging results. Remember, the brutal reason you're not progressing isn't because you lack information, talent, or potential. It's because you're fighting against how your brain actually works instead of working with it. You have everything you need to break through right now. You don't need more motivation, more courses, or more perfect conditions. You need to start casting votes for your new identity today. The only difference between someone stuck and someone thriving is this: time horizons and consistent action. That's it. Not intelligence, not connections, just showing up and staying longer than everyone else quits. Don't wait until Monday. Don't wait until you feel ready. Don't wait until circumstances are perfect. Those are just sophisticated forms of the same trap we've been discussing. Start with just one thing from this video today. Right now, before you click away, pick the point that hit you hardest and take the smallest action possible in the next 10 minutes. I promise you, 6 months from now, you'll thank yourself. A year from now, you'll be unrecognizable. 5 years from now, you won't believe you're the same person. If you found this helpful and you want to stop lying to yourself about why you're stuck, hit that like button. It tells YouTube to share this with people who need to hear it. Subscribe for more no BS psychology-backed content on actually changing your life, not just feeling good about the idea of changing. Drop a comment telling me which of these 7 points hit you hardest and what one action you're committing to today. I read every comment, and your public commitment is your first vote for your new identity. And if you want to learn the scientific system for building habits that actually stick long-term, check out this video next, where I break down the neuroscience of behavior change. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Now stop, WG.